All right, y'all, we have a special edition of Sisters Talk today. As y'all can see, y'all have us on a different day and time because we have a special interview today with the co-pastor of the Fountain of Praise Church. Co-pastor, author, motivational speaker. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Y'all have heard of her, and we have her today doing a special interview with us today. So say hello, Miss Co-pastor Mia Wright.
Hello, all the listeners for Sisters Talk.
Yes.
It's good to be here today with you guys,
Yes.
and I'm delighted to be able to share a little bit of my life, my history, and story with you all. So thank you, Nikki, for having me here.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this interview with us, making time for us. We know you are a busy woman, so we definitely appreciate you doing this with us. And that's the first thing I want to jump into is, how do you do it? I mean, you have written this book.
Oh my God.
You co-pastor, you preach, you travel, and then pastor even brags of the fact that you cook too. I'm like, how did she?
He did say that.
Yes, I'm like, how did she find time to cook? And then he say you can burn in the kitchen.
Yeah, I can. If I have time, I will. You know, I was just sharing with somebody today how life is just really full of its ups and downs. We all are given our set amount of time, right? And we can't manufacture time. Mm-hmm. Determine in our lives what things in this moment is most critical for me. And once you kind of determine what's most important in that moment, what has the shortest, what has to be attended to in this season, then you get to it and you give it ample time and you give it your attention. You know, for years I was a multitasker. I'm recovering, but I'm not all the way out of there. I'm recovering. You know, some days I said, oh gosh, sometimes I feel like I have 25 windows open at the same time and one of them playing music and I can't figure out which one to turn it off, you know. So you got so many things happening. You know, I don't know anybody who's not busy. Yeah. I don't know anyone who isn't doing something in your life. And if you're doing something, then you're going to be challenged with time constraints and trying to balance. But I really don't like the word balance anymore. I don't use it for my own self. I use the word harmony. And I like to have harmony in my life, which means that I am at peace with the things that I'm going through and where I'm giving my attention and what's happening in that moment. And just a clear example, Nikki, when my kids were younger, I'd spent a lot of time working, like doing stuff on computers, right? So my kids, they never know what my job is. They think I work on computers. So they would tell their teachers, my mom works on computers. But one day my son was talking to me and I was still typing and, you know, half listening, still typing. And he just stopped and he said, but you're not listening to me, Mom. And I had to realize in that moment that he was the most important thing, that I could get back to what I was typing. I don't see how crazy is that. I don't even remember what I was writing about. I have no idea. But what was most important was that my son was going through some challenges at school, and I had to stop my life, stop my moment to give him the attention and the guidance that he needs. He's only going to be in my presence till he turns 18, and then after that, you know, he's going to be an adult. And so I have to know that in that time of life, I have to give the attention to the things that are needed for that season. So I can't always stop everything, but in that moment, I had a choice. And my choice was to give the attention and to where it was needed. And I'm at peace with that. That was my harmony. That's my harmony. And so if I don't cook, guess what? We'll order some food. You know, there'll be food in the house. Somebody can, we'll fix a sandwich, you'll eat cereal at night, something. You know, if I don't cook every day, it's okay. You still eat. You know, so being at peace and being in harmony with the things that happen in your life is another level of living. And it gives you the confidence when you're challenged with trying to balance. Guilty a lot of ways, right? Because you say, well, I didn't give this kid as much kid, or I didn't give my job as much attention. And so you start to feel guilty. There are times where you're on autopilot or semi-autopilot for a little while, and then you bring back the attention to it. So that's how you learn to do it. You learn to do it because you know that these are my 24 hours. I've got to eat in this time period. I got to take a shower. I need to exercise myself, but then I also have to work. And so filled. The rest of my hours will be filled with those things. And so I'm at peace with those good things.
Yeah.
I want to share it on Facebook to my page, and I have no idea how to do this right now. I'm like, why I don't know how to do this? But I really want it to come on my page too. So hopefully some people that saw it, I did share earlier, said it was going to start on. So hopefully they'll click into it. So
on the Sisters Talk, hopefully you'll go to the Sisters Talk page and click onto it, because we tried to tag you on all of our posts. So hopefully it does.
Okay, good.
Go to straight to your page.
Good. Okay, that's what's important. So people get a chance to see this, and even if they don't see it live, then they'll get a chance to see it afterwards. Yeah.
I can always just share it. Since you liked our page, you could always.
Oh yes.
So either way.
And I encourage people to like the Sisters Talk page. So go on there and take, support sisters, support people who have a vision and a dream. It's time out for us to be hating on others. Somebody has. Let them do what they're gifted to do, and encourage them in their walk and in their activities, their talk, so that they can succeed. When one succeeds, another succeeds right behind it. So
exactly.
I love it. Yes.
And something I love that I have enjoyed is Unthinkable.
Yes.
I read it.
Good.
I'm not somebody to movie. So I'm gonna have to read this book again.
Good. Share with me, Nikki, what was most impactful for you? You're interviewing me and I'm interviewing you.
The most impactful for me, that had me weeping in tears, and I was just so amazed, was the way you broke down the lady at the well.
Oh yeah.
The way you broke down the lady at the well, I was like, it was like the tears just came down out of nowhere. I was like, what is wrong? I stopped, I paused, I asked God. I was like, what is wrong?
Yes, can you imagine?
Yes.
Yeah. Writing that book was incredible, because it allowed me to go through a journey of different women characters and men characters, biblical characters that have been studied for a long time. And one of the things I feel that God has gifted me to do is to be able to really see their lives, to see a fresh perspective on their lives, and then how it relates to us today. Because some people think, well, that was a long time ago, or that's just the Bible, and they kind of feel like in some way that it's not relevant. But the truth is that it's a history of somebody's story. It's a true story that had been told and retold and was written, and now 2,000 years later, we still have this person's history. And her particular story was, she was really dealing with relationships. And who do you not know that doesn't have some type of relation problem? Yeah. It could be with the men, it could be with your family, it could be with your own children, it could be on your job. So people in general have relationship issues. So this kind of helps people to see, how do I put those? But the one thing that really messed me up about her, and I learned this while I was studying and researching, it was the very first time that Christ shared who he really was with anyone. And the fact that she was considered the wrong race and the wrong gender, our identity has a lot to do with who we are, how we connect with others. But Christ saw through her identity and saw her as a person worthy of telling something so powerful to, that she was the very first person that Jesus Christ exposed himself to. He told her who he was. He said, I am the Messiah. When she was like, look, maybe you're a prophet, maybe you're this, because he was telling her all this stuff and making her, and she felt like compelled to tell the truth to him when she probably hadn't told the truth in a long time. So she was telling him the truth about everything. Yeah. And then she said, the Messiah will come here, will reveal all these things to us. And Jesus said to her, I'm he. I'm the Messiah. Yeah. And that was that is the biggest powerful thing. And then the second thing that happened with that was that this woman ran to the town to tell the people of the town about Jesus. And when I thought about it one day, I was writing about it. I thought about it, Nikki. I said, she had been telling people about, having a man, because she was on her 5th or 6th one, right? Yeah. So she'd been talking about it. It wasn't anything new for her to say this. I have a man. I found a man. It was nothing new, but it was something new. Yeah. It was something very different. And so for each of us, we can live our lives, and it may seem like your story is on repeat, repeat, doing the same thing over and over again. But at some point in time, your message may sound the same, but the core of what it is totally different. Because you have changed, you've transformed, you've been exposed to something totally different than you haven't been exposed to before. And that's what makes you weep. That's what makes you weep, because you realize that you're not too distant from this woman.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you, you know, it hits you in a place because you go, wow, really? You know, that could be me. That could be my mom. That could be my sister. That could be my best friend. And you find out that Christ loves you no matter who you are and how many mistakes you may have made and how much you depended on somebody else. He still loves you. He still sees.
And so that's what I felt like when I read her story. It was like you could really feel her heart the way you broke it down.
Oh yeah.
And you did that with so many others, everybody in the Bible. That it was amazing to me how you just broke everybody down. It was like you seen them in a way that you had never even thought of seeing them in this light, the way you broke it down.
Right.
What inspired you to write this book?
You know, I had said for years I was going to write a book, and I thought I was going to write a book about a metamorphosis journey. Yeah. And in essence, these really are metamorphosis stories, because metamorphosis is transformation. And so their stories really are telling about how these people transform their lives. And so in essence, it is that type of story, but I thought it would be more self-biography and, you know, about my particular life. Although I did weave a little bit of my history and try to relate some things I've experienced into those people's lives as well, what I've learned from the message. But it was the woman with the issue of blood. And one day I was just sitting there looking back at all my sermon notes, and I realized that I had preached her for 20 years. I had preached her from so many different perspectives. I preached her from front, from back, from, you know, like in the storm, if there's a storm that happens and the newscasters come in and they're like, you know, you got from the north side of this storm is, you know, we see this, and from the south side of the storm, we see this. I had realized I had looked at her life from different angles. And I looked at her historically, like, what was her life like before this woman got sick? I looked at her like, what was it like to be sick for 12 years? You know, how sick can you be of being sick? What's it like to lose all your money after you know, trying to invest in getting better? What's it like to lose all your money and still get bad, feel worse? Yeah. You know, what's it like to press your way into a crowd when people say you can't be there? And I realized that she was really core to the message of what I teach. And so I thought, what I have to do is I have to put together a story. I really thought I was just going to write about her. But as I started thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute, there's so many other remarkable stories to share. And then whittling it down, you know, because there's so many stories I wanted to tell. And my publisher said to me, you know, I don't know about Joseph in here, because I have one story about Joseph in the Bible, and he's a male character that I included. And he said, I don't know about Joseph in here. I don't think he fits. I said, Joseph fits. I said, Joseph fits. Joseph has to be here, because the book is called Unthinkable. And it challenges the reader to do something out of your normal, something out of the ordinary pattern of your life, to see extraordinary changes, see something different, something bigger than what you could ever imagine. But part of it is that many of us say we want something new in life. We want something different. We want to experience a new aspect of life. But we're past trying to move it forward. Going back to the woman at the well. Imagine outside. Before, I know y'all heard me, but this time it's different. She didn't go through all that. She said, come yourself and see if this is the Messiah. And so what she started to do was she started to, even though her story was similar, it was different, because she had a whole fresh revelation. And so the goal is to help every person do something different. So what inspired me, going back to your original question, sorry, I'm verbose, I'm a preacher over here, okay, right. Okay, so it's not Bible study, but you know, but just sharing the story, I get so excited about what God has allowed me to experience through doing this and being able to reach people's lives. The whole goal was really just to challenge people. Don't stay where you are. Don't stay stuck. Don't stay in your house. Don't stay with the same mindset. Don't stay on that same job for 20 years, especially people overlooking you for promotion and you know you got the skills. You don't want training the next person to be your boss. You know, don't get stuck like that. Do something different that will shift your life's trajectory. And the only way you can do that is if you take this action step. You have to believe in yourself first, and then you take an action step that goes along with that belief. And God will meet you in that place that you are, especially if he shows you, I'm going to bless your life. I'm going to increase you and enlarge. If he gives you those hints, believe him. Believe him. That's all I can say. Believe him. He's going to do it.
Yeah, and that's something I definitely got from this book. It's like I've done a couple of different things because I'm like, good. I just have to try. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to try.
Good.
From reading the book, it's like I believe like, hey,
yes,
I can take the off of the thinkable.
You got it, girl. And it's thinkable. It truly is thinkable. I like the way that the book reads. I hold it up. The book, the graphic on it, I don't know if I'm there. Okay, the graphic on it is broke it into 3 words. So it's like, think. This is our cognitive gift that we have. It's think about what you think about. That's cognitive thinking, right? Yeah. And so you have to be aware of your thoughts. And the interesting thing is that sometimes we aren't as aware of the things that we do think, right? So sometimes we just go about life doing, and we have a lot of self-talk, a whole lot of self-talk. And our self-talk often is negative. It's often limiting. It's self-limiting. It, in many ways, is self-sabotaging.
Why do you think that?
I think because studies have shown that that's what we do. But that is what we do because we don't have the capacity to see the bigger picture in some ways. We desire some things. We want some things. And we say, well, God can help me get these. But if we don't see those steps already lined out, we don't understand that faith is filling that gap between what we see and what we don't have. And so the faith will give us the action steps. The faith will give us the belief and the hope to know that we can make these things happen with God's help. And the faith will help us to fill in those gaps and holes that we don't have, where we're in a lack or a loss. Faith will help us to either have favor to cover that vacancy up, or it will give us the strength and the mindset to move forward to get the capacity to expand it. So you go back to school, or you get the learning, or you sit in some class, or you get a mentor, or you go and just try it, or you research it, or you go to YouTube University, or whatever it is. That's what the cognitive thinking does. It helps you to think about what you're putting in your mind and speaking to yourself.
Tiffany says hi.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yolanda Carroll says faith gives us action steps.
Girl, it sure does. It does, Yolanda. It gives us action steps so that we know how to move, and we trust God to put our steps in the right place so that he will order our steps for us. Will you make some mistakes? Yes. Will you fail in some ways? Yes. Will you wish you hadn't done certain things? I don't know about that. There's some things I wish I hadn't done, but then I'm grateful to God that I did try it, that I did go after it. I'd rather, I don't know if I want to attribute this to Lady Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt, but it was someone who said, I'd rather live my life full of, I'm glad I tried, rather than I wish I had tried. Yeah. Because, boy, we could sit back with a whole list of shoulda, woulda, coulda, wouldas. Yeah. And say, if I had only done this, but man, you have to try some things. We have to try some things. That's what the challenge is, to get out of the comfort zone, right? Because our comfort zone will box us in. We'll say, hey, you're good where you are. Mm-hmm. Keep it up. Yeah. And you can look in the mirror and say, I'm good. Yeah. But guess what? They're still always greater. Yeah. And there's always another step that you can take. Because, let's take technology as an example. You guys have very nice phones. I don't know what these are, but they're very nice phones. I've got the iPhone 11. The iPhone, I'm very Mac person here. So I have an iPhone 3. I still have it. iPhone 4. I still have it. iPhone 6. I still have, yeah. And then I had to return my 10 to get the 11. So I've missed a couple in the middle. But if I pick up my iPhone 3 right now, which wasn't that long ago, maybe about 7-8 years ago, I pick up my iPhone 3. I'm like, what's the matter with this? What was I thinking? Oh, look at this. Where's the button? I mean, and I look at it and think, it's so antiquated. Yeah. It's history. And I look at and compare to where I am now using the iPhone 11. Boy, everything's fast. I don't have to wait for stuff to download. Everything's really fast. Look at our lives in the same way.
Yeah.
Look at our lives and our growth, our advancement, our knowledge, our strength, our spiritual advancement, the things that God places in our lives, our new relationships that we build. All of these things build upon what we had. Apple didn't scrap the plans. They started with the 3, and then they built on it, and they built on it, and they built on it. And that's what God wants us to do, to grow.
Yeah.
He doesn't want us to stay stagnant. He wants us to grow, to build upon one thing, upon the next thing. And so we can become better and stronger. So let me just speak to somebody. If you find yourself being stuck or stagnant at this place in your life, know that where you are is not where you're supposed to stay, but it's part of the process. It's like taking a step to walk up a whole staircase. You don't skip steps unless you're just really trying to be fancy. But you take it a step at a time. And if you get stuck, you're standing on a step and you still haven't gotten to the top yet. But you're supposed to keep moving and building upon that. So don't feel too bad about yourself or be hard on yourself because you've been stuck for a minute. But just start taking some action steps, one thing at a time, to move yourself forward up to the next step, up to the next level. So be like Apple. Keep building.
Yeah.
And Samsung and whatever y'all got here. Galaxy, Samsung. Okay.
Galaxy.
Droids, okay. Come over to the good side. Yes.
The old iPhones were so, like the fonts were so tiny. The phone itself was so small.
And then it was like, it just always seemed, it used to seem like it was just too much, like to do the iPhone. And then it just seemed like too much, but
now they're better.
Yeah, and sometimes I
good.
look at other people and I'm like, dang, maybe, but nah.
Yeah, well, I think it's like what you kind of start on becomes your platform, unless somebody buys you a phone and you have no choice. It's like, okay, I'll be grateful. I'll take it. I'll figure this new platform out. But I have both, actually, Android and an iPhone, but it's the Mac stuff. I like the connectivity of all of it.
Yeah,
so,
how it all just flows.
Yeah, it all flows.
Yeah.
It all flows, but Androids have some connectivity too. You can bump the phones or something.
You can.
Yeah, see, there you go. Hey, we have connectivity as sisters here on Sisters Talk.
Yes.
And we have connectivity. I saw one of my sisters here. So you're bringing someone up to levels, unthinkable levels. Thank you, Mish. She's on that thing. So, and hey, Monse Drug, thank you. She said that's it. So thank you for the sisters that have joined in on the call today, too. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So another thing we have to get into is the fact that, yes, like you said, your book, you thought originally it was going to be about metamorphosis. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, you have this fabulous women's here called Metamorphosis that has blessed so many souls. Yes.
It's under the microphone.
Yes. But it has blessed so many women. Lives have been changed drastically. I know you have heard testimony after testimony. And this year, you get to celebrate 20 years.
Can you believe that? 20 years is amazing. First of all, it's a long time, right?
Yeah.
And it's a long time for a conference to continue. It's a long time for an organization or somebody's passion or dream. My desire initially with beginning Metamorphosis was here at the church. We didn't have anything for the women. So I started at the church in 2000. And we hosted our first women's conference in 2001 down in Galveston, Texas at the San Luis. I didn't know how many people were going to be there. So we said 150. We hit like 250. We were squeezing in. We were like, oh, God, we're beyond fire marshal capacity in this room. It was such a need, and it was so much work. I was like, okay, God, I'm not doing this again. Thank you very much. We did it for the women, and I was like, oop, thank you. So I thought we were going to be done, but the next year, actually one of the sisters posted today, and she said how that first conference really changed her life, and it built up her faith again. And I remember her testimony to me. She said, the conference was $150, and that included like hotel and meals and everything, so it was high price, but it was in Galveston. And she said, I spend over $100 or so for a counseling session. She said, but this weekend was better than any counseling session I could have ever invested in. She said, this was for me, and I am better. And I was like, oh my God, I never thought about it from that perspective, that mindset of how people really need something. Sometimes it's that connectivity with another sister. It's the word. It's hearing from multiple speakers at one time. And then, although we don't tell anybody what to speak about, they're praying and God is speaking. So God's got this whole plan, right? So we just say, this is our date. This is our theme. Let the Lord use you and how you would decide. And almost without fail, every year there has been like a consistency. Hey, Grover, it's okay, because there are men that jump in on Metamorphosis too. We call it the Metamorphosis. Yes. So, yes. So, butterflies are male and female too. So, but the message always seems to connect one to the other, to the next. And people say, did you tell her to say that? I didn't tell her to say that. Mm-hmm. I didn't tell anybody to say that. It's like, it just flows, because that's how God is. He's very intentional in our lives. Mm-hmm. And he wants us to receive things, like I said, how we build one thing upon the next. And so every year for 20 years, we've been able to carry this message of transformation. Somebody's like, I don't know if I need to come this year. Well, the message is different each year. And for the last 4 or 5 years, these have been our themes. We used experience, which ties into how our life experiences can move us forward. Yeah. And so if you consider the life cycle of a butterfly, how or a caterpillar moving to a butterfly, he experiences life as a caterpillar. And then he begins to evolve. So the second part is evolve, because he starts to transform his life. And my husband shared this with me today. He was watching something or reading something. He's like, did you realize that the caterpillar has everything in it already to be the butterfly? And it just takes that moment that he decides to make that change. And I'm like, that's good. That's some good stuff, because it really does. And some of us see ourselves in that development stage. We see ourselves in the place before we can become great, before we become a boss, before we can become a mother or a wife, before we can become employed or an entrepreneur. We see ourselves in that place, and we may have some old habits that we still haven't broken yet, but at the right time, it's going to change and you'll begin to evolve. So we experience and then we evolve. And then the next level was to emerge. And so, because the caterpillar burst out as something new now, it comes out on the scene, is not looking like it used to look, and not the same diet, not the same perspective, because now it's elevated, has a whole new perspective of what the world is like, different, doesn't eat the same thing you used to eat in the old one. So, the things we consume and digest in our natural and spiritual bodies, we won't stay the same any longer. And then the next stage, so that was, emerge. And then where we are for this year is, I can't believe I just dropped my thought. It's undecidedly, no, it's undoubtedly, no, it is somebody help me out. Write it on my team.
Experience, evolve, emerge. No, you just said that.
Yes, experience. It's oh gosh, I can't believe that my mind just elevate. We elevate it, because you elevate. Look, I got to look right on this thing. I cannot believe it.
And while you do that,
I think I know what it is.
Listening, the Metamorphosis 20-year anniversary is on March 20th. And you go to www.metamorphosis.org.
To get your tickets now, because to my understanding, you want to get your tickets now, because after this Saturday, am I correct, the prices go up?
Yeah, the prices go up.
So you definitely want to get your undeniably different. Ooh, I'm excited. I can't wait.
I'm like, I can't believe my mind went blank.
I love it. Undeniably different.
Undeniably different.
Wow.
So there's no denying that I might look the same to you, but I'm a different person. Yeah. I saw somebody had posted once, and they said, to that girl I used to be, I'm sorry. I'm not you no more, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people want to bring your history back up. Right, Nikki, Danielle. They want to bring your history back up. Oh, I remember back when. Oh, I remember you used to. And I'm like, yeah, I sure used to. But I'm not that one again. Yes. Yeah, I ain't like that no more. I'm a different person. Yeah. I'm a new creature. And, my talk isn't the same. My diet isn't the same. But my perspective isn't the same. I have a whole new focus. Yeah. And then when you have this whole new focus, you start to realize that, especially if you consider that butterfly as same image, it's getting closer to God, right? So you're growing, you're learning, you're living, but you're not getting away from God. You're getting closer to Him. So that's my whole spiel on Metamorphosis. 20 years. Yes. It'll be March 20th. It's going to be at the Fountain of Praise, and it's a one-day event. Our flyer right now says 7 p.m., but it actually starts at 3 p.m. because our empowerment seminars, and we'll be announcing that this week. Next week. So 3 to 6 p.m. is our empowerment seminars, where we have women of power, we have women of purpose, we have different levels of talks, and we have some workshops that will be going on as well. And so several things happening. So 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock for that. The conference actually starts at 7 o'clock in the evening, and during that time we'll also have food trucks available on site, so you don't have to go out. You can stay there. We'll have a nice tent area where you can stay if you want to stop and eat, support one of these businesses that have their food vendors there. So it'll be activities going on, a lot of stuff happening kind of all at the same time. So it's another big conference event for us. So we're looking forward to 2,500 attendees. And our VIP is, I think, about 70% sold out. So VIP, everybody receives a conference item, but the VIP gets a super duper nice gift item, a super duper nice gift item. So we want to make sure that those that want to invest in that will be able to. So get your ticket at metamorphosis.org.
Yes. I know I have enjoyed it, the Metamorphosis previously, so I can't wait for this year. Especially, I'm excited about what the theme is this year. Undeniably different.
God woke me up in the middle of the night with that. He woke me up, and I thought it was just to make a t-shirt. I was like, oh, you want me to make a t-shirt? And I was talking with my t-shirt. She said, that's your theme. And I was like, that is my theme. What was I thinking? It's interesting how God will deal with us in so many different ways, right? Some stuff he'll just drop in your spirit. Some stuff you might be scrabbling a long way. Some stuff you watching TV and get inspired, or reading somebody's something and you get inspired by it. But God will always speak to us. And so undeniably different. And so I think that's what I want to affirm. And going back to your question, Danielle, when we talk about the cognitive thinking, why we self-talk ourselves out of stuff and think ourselves out, because we don't see ourselves in the place we need to be. We don't see ourselves as different. We'll say, oh, I'm feeling the same everything same friends. No, you have to see, how can my life be different? And those things that you start to believe and trust God for will be the things you start to attract in your life. So if you are working on your financial plan, right? So you say, I want to get out of debt. I want to have money in the bank. I want to have good credit. You can't just sit there in your house and think those things going to happen, right? But you start believing that, and then you start. Have you ever noticed you say, I want some glasses, and all of a sudden Facebook starts sending you these ads about glasses? Hello, somebody. It's the same thing, except it's not it's not robot doing this. God starts to do this thing for you. You become attentive to those things that are leading you where you say you want to go. So if you're going back to the financial example, you start seeing programs that offer you help for your credit, or help you to pay down debt, or learn more about money management and better stewardship. So you start seeing those things, and then you start saying, okay, well, if I said I want to do this, maybe let me sign up for this, and then you start putting those steps for it. And next thing you know, you start doing it. And then you start doing it, and your finances are different. And you look back a year later and you go, how did my finances get different? Well, I started doing it.
You started somewhere.
You started.
Yeah.
And you put it in the atmosphere. You put it out there, because you start talking yourself into stuff. That's what I'm saying. Some of us need to do, stop talking ourselves out of stuff, start talking self into some stuff, to good, positive stuff, where we'll see some outcomes happen in our life because we're talking ourselves into those good things.
Yes. Yep. I like it. I love it.
Yes.
And so we do want to give you the opportunity, as we do all our guests, and want you to shout out your websites, all your social media platforms.
Okay, cool.
How can people get in contact with you and hear more from you?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so the biggest one right now is metamorphosis.org. So if you'd like to find out more about our organization, we're actually redeveloping our website as we're launching the conference. And so it's not where hey, when I talk about that harmony, I'm good with it. So that's the biggest one. But my social media sites for Metamorphosis on Facebook and Twitter is at Metaconf, Metaconf. So it's the shortened version for Metamorphosis Conference. And then on Instagram, we're at My Metaconf, MyMetaconf. And my pages on Facebook, too many different pages. On Facebook is Mia K. Wright. Mia K. Wright on Facebook. On Twitter and Instagram is @Mia Wright. And my website is miawright.com. Yeah.
And you can also find the Metamorphosis Women's Conference Facebook page, correct?
Yes.
It's just Metamorphosis Women's Conference.
Yeah, you can type in Metamorphosis Women's Conference, or if you feel like doing that whole long URL and you want to type facebook.com/metaconf, it'll show up there. But the other thing, in the book Unthinkable is available on Amazon, and it's also available on barnesandnobles.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a must read, y'all. Y'all have to get this book. I'm telling y'all. Y'all have to get this book. Y'all have to read it. It will change your life.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. That's my goal. I really, really want to inspire people to change their lives. Get out of that box of what is comfortable, where you just okay.
Yeah.
Don't you like those commercials? Okay, it's just not okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not okay,
Yeah,
right? It's not okay just being okay.
Yeah,
Come on, God created you to be something amazing. He created you to be better than what you ever even thought. You know, He created you to be bigger. And I mean really bigger, where you walk into a room and you make an impact with your presence. That's how God has made you. He's made you strong, bold, confident, beautiful, amazing, intelligent, articulate. I don't know who I'm talking to, but He's made you all those things. And stop dumbing yourself down, making yourself small when God has made you big. So that's what I want to inspire you to do. Get out of that box of being small, where you say, I'm okay. Because being okay is just not okay.
It's not.
It's not.
Well, Co-Pastor Mia, we thank you once again so much for giving us your time today and sitting down with us and supporting our organization.
Yes.
And we definitely want to encourage everybody. Get your tickets for Metamorphosis.
Yes.
Get your book. And just keep an eye on you. Come visit the Fountain of Praise. We get some good preaching here at the Fountain of Praise.
Yes, indeed. And praising, too.
Yes.
Can I ask y'all to come around on the camera? I see, like, I'm the only person on camera. I want y'all to come around on camera. So, yes. Danielle's like, ooh, look at here, honey. We good with who we are, yeah? I'm talking to today. Yay.
Let me see. Can they see it?
Yes.
Maybe.
Well, let's see. It's like a delay on mine. Yeah. But hey, y'all. This is Nikki, and this is Danielle, and Talk. And I want you to follow their page, support these women, these young women who are in business, these young women who have passion and purpose, these young women who are sharing other people's stories. And I hope to hear y'all's story as well, okay?
Yes.
So let's support them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you for being on the show.
Yes, we really do.
Hey, friends. Thank y'all for tuning in. Are we done?
Yes,
we finished?
ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all.
Yes, thank y'all for tuning in to the Sisters Talk broadcast.
And we'll see you guys on Sunday when we interview with Dr. Trey Andrews on how to get that back right without any type of surgery.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast.